My mind begins unraveling as I start traveling through time. I shall not fear, for my destiny lies greater than that which is here. Through tunnels of darkness grows light, but it's suppressed by no movement. Motion becomes only a thought as I am brought for just a second back to reality. But realness has no meaning. Meaning still I am lost, yet found, bound by the shackles and chains that enslave my brain, leaving me motionless and standing still, but yet still standing, demanding more from life than life demands of me, releasing my inhibitions, allowing my soul to be free. You see, free is an idea, and it's been made a promise. And we all know what happens to promises. They're made to be broken until they break like glass. But like glass, I see through them. No, past them, for past them has no limitations. Past them lies that freedom which remains to be seen, that peace of the American dream, that small peace that calls for peace so I can be at peace. And ladies and gentlemen, I pray that peace be with you. Fellow Toastmasters, yes, I wrote these words probably over 15 years ago. And when I wrote them, I wasn't sure of the impact it would have on other people. And I sure wasn't aware of the impact that it would have on me. You see, these words have become the soundtrack of my life. Early in life, I started off with a rough beginning. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. I was hard-headed. I remember going out for the freshman football team. Not because I wanted to, but because I was following the crowd. This particular day, we were doing what's called up-downs. If you don't know what up-downs are, it's basically when you run in place until the coach blows the whistle. And when the coach blows the whistle, you hit the ground and jump back up and run in place again until the coach blows the whistle again. But this particular day, we had done so many up-downs, I could barely feel my arms. My legs had turned to mush, and I began to think about quitting. In fact, I put a number in my head, and it's been over 20 years ago, and I still remember that number. That number was 5. See, I decided I can only do 5 more before I quit. And as I began to count down in my head to 5, 4, 3, 2. See, I began to hope, wish, and even pray that the coach would stop practice. But he didn't. It kept going. Those up downs kept going. So when I got off the ground from that last one, that's when I did it. I walked off the field that day. And I quit on myself. But I didn't only quit on myself. I quit on my teammates. I quit on those people who believed in me. See, what happened was something magical in that quitting moment. From that moment on, every time after that, it became easier and easier and easier to quit. See, that quitting led to other things. I became a liar. I became a cheater. I became a thief. I became other things that I'm not proud of. So one day, I was encouraged to join the United States Marine Corps. I didn't know what I was getting into. And see, when I got to Paris Island, I stood on those yellow footprints, I was the same quitter loser that I was when I got there. But something began to change. I began to get motivated. I began to get inspired. I began to hear words not so encouraging from my drill instructor. But one thing he said that I will always remember, I'll never forget. He said, Casey, he said, you think you're exempt from pain? No one is. In fact, pain is the very essence of life. One of the 4 noble truths says life is suffering. Life is suffering. So none of us are exempt from pain. So from that moment on, I began to challenge myself. I began to do as I talked about earlier in my speech. I began to demand more of myself than life demanded of me. I began to demand more, want more, need more. There was a void that was being filled by the motivation that was inside me to be better, to do better, to have more. And it started with demanding. And when I graduated boot camp in February 1996, I became a new person. And I began to demand more of myself than life demanded of me. I began to question myself. Okay, you didn't think you can do that. But now you've accomplished what most people only dream of. Becoming a United States Marine. What else can you do? So I went out to the workforce. I joined CSX. I began to transition. And I excelled in CSX. But I began to ask myself, what else can you do? I decided to leave CSX after a 15-year tenure. 15 years of getting a good, comfortable paycheck. People said, Casey, you're crazy. Why would you leave a comfortable job? Because I had it in me. I had to demand more of life than life demands of me. So I left that job. I wrote a book, something I thought I would never do. It took me 6 years to write it, but I finally finished. And when I finished that book, I asked myself again, what else can you do? I hadn't figured that out yet, but I guarantee the next thing I do will blow everybody's mind, including my own. So I'll leave you with this challenge today. Ask yourself, are you fulfilled by life? Is there more for you? And I'll challenge you, demand more from life than life demands of you.